So in today's episode of Telling God's Story, I am here to remind you that God is there. See who is back on your screen again. Happy new month, extraordinary family. Welcome to another extraordinary episode of Telling God's Story on Moments with BOT. For our returning subscribers, thank you for always coming back. You are loved. And if this is your first time here, this is Moments with BOT. Here we tell God stories, we tell extraordinary experiences, and we inform and motivate you about extraordinary things that help you to get up and go. So family, in today's episode of Telling God's Story, as you can see in the title, God is there. I decided to share this part of God's story and to also share a particular part of one thing that I've learned at the beginning of this year, and that really helped me so far in seeing God and in working with God in a new dimension. And I believe that if you can stay to the end of today's episode, you would surely be blessed. So earlier this year, I studied a book by one of God's generals which blessed me a lot. I decided to share some of the things I learned in it in today's episode of Telling God's Story. A book which comprised of the compilation of the messages of A.W. Tozer, titled Tozer on Worship and Entertainment. You might want to ask me, how does this relate to telling God's story? Yes, it does relate to telling God's story, because there is one or two words out of many words in this book that really blessed me that I want to share with you today, which relates to our title, God is there. So according to A.W. Tozer, he said, and I quote, "The heart that knows God can find him everywhere." Did you hear that? The heart that knows God can find him everywhere. He also added, "A man filled with the Spirit who has met God is a living encounter who can worship in the silence and in the storm." Wow. A man that knows God, a man that has met God genuinely, would see him in every situation, at every point, and everywhere. So in today's episode of Telling God's Story, I am here to remind you that God is there. Many a times we think that God is dead because everything is down. No, I am here to tell you that whether in silence, God is there and is alive. God is never dead at any point in time. You just need to acknowledge this and trust him, whether in silence, in storm, or at sight. In life, different situations comes our way, which we can either define as a silent time or as a stormy time, or whether at a time that signifies that, oh, God is visible. Whether you are at that stage of silence, or you are at that stage of storm currently, or you are at that stage that you see God so visibly in your own divination, what I am here to tell you today is that God is there. One of the many ways through which the devil tends to deceive humanity is to make us believe that if God is silent in a situation, or if we are going through stormy situation, then that means God is dead or we are not loved by God. No, whether in storm or in silence or at sight, whether in good or not too good situation, God remains God and nothing changes him. There is something that I do say, it might sound funny, but it is real to me. If every day of our life goes on rosy and rosy and rosy, we'll get too addicted to roses that we'll misuse the significance of rose. So just learn to acknowledge and trust God in those silent situations, trust God in those stormy circumstances. And even when you think that, oh, I see God's end so strong in this situation, still know that God remains God. Never see God as dead because everything seems silent or the situation seems stormy. Trust God in silence, trust God in storms, and trust God at sight. So as we come to the end of today's episode of Telling God's Story on Moments with BOT, I would advise you get yourself a copy of Tozer on Worship and Entertainment. This will bless you. This will make you understand and see God in a new dimension, and it will give you insight to how to relate with God in every situation. Remember, the heart that knows God will see him everywhere and in every situation. Thank you so much, extraordinary family, for joining in today's episode. Do not forget to click on the subscribe button. Share this to someone that needs to know that at every point in our life, God is there. And drop your testimony in the comment section as we all get blessed together. Hi, I'm Balogun Oluwatimi, and I will see you in the next episode.